Welcome to episode 91 of the Permaculture PIMPcast, the only PIMPcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. How you doing, son?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe it's episode 91, and it's brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! Also, Heaven's Harvest, y'all. 10% off with promo code PERMA. Hey, check it out. There's going to be a lot in this show, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things in which you, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just want to be saying, y'all, you got to be thinking about some of the best modalities to put your money. Heaven's Harvest, y'all, is the real deal. They wouldn't be an advertiser on this show if they weren't the real deal, and I didn't check them out. Food's on point, but like I said to y'all before, look, it's not just a matter of getting a commission on this. Yeah, we get, a little bit, for every purchase. And remember, you put in promo code PERMA. But do not forget the things we talked about before, like your dry goods, things that you can easily get yourself and save a pile of money on. Your rice, your beans, things like that, things you can't get.
Fat,
particularly, actually you can get a lot of shelf stable stuff off the shelf and save your pile of money. But in some cases, if you don't have a freeze dryer or you don't have a means to put back food in the form of maybe freeze dried meat, you might want to consider that. And look, they got entire kits out there if you need them. Also, the seeds are on point. Your mom's out there, I think, starting even more of them. So yeah, Heaven's Harvest is the real deal, y'all. 100% germination when we did it, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty doggone impressive, dude. We could drop some manhole covers on the heads of a whole lot of seed companies out there that ain't nowhere close to that. Look, we're not in the business of just dogging somebody out. But look, theirs is better than the most highly touted seed companies out there. Because honestly, I was sitting here thinking when we planted those seeds, it said 85% germination rate. Son, honestly, I really was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to have to wind up deep six in these guys because I don't believe it's going to be 85% because everybody else seems to be lying to us every time. Like that guy with the rock pot.
But
sent that thing home. Yeah. You're sitting here telling me, making all these incredible claims about this thing, and it turns out to be a scam. I'm glad I didn't say anything on the podcast. I am truly, truly glad. It seemed like a wonderful idea, did everything to the letter, did everything we were supposed to. Come to find out this thing was a total scam.
Yeah, it didn't work at all.
And there were so many scams out there that I was thinking, okay, these people might be going overboard saying 85%. When it turned out to be 100%, I was like, I knew their food was good, but I was not going to tell anybody, go buy these seeds until I knew they were on point.
But also the seed varieties that they have aren't they're calorie dense. They're not going to be like your fancy purple carrots or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not something so far off the beaten path. Yeah, that's not gonna.
They advertise them as the seeds your grandparents grew.
Yeah, and they are absolutely up to par. So I won't spend too much time on that, y'all. Also, don't forget to check us out on the Fountain app where you can tip a pimp. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Go over there, check out all your podcasts on the Fountain app, and if you so desire, you can go ahead and tip a pimp over there. Or you can go ahead and help out some of our advertisers here, y'all. They do a whole lot to help take care of you. Oh, my goodness. I sat there and stole Jack Spirko's line, dude. That's what he used to say back in the day. Help them out. They take a whole lot. I can't believe I just did that. I'm going to have to call and apologize to Jack.
I'm sure somebody will let him know.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will. Yeah, but good influence out there. Really good guy and doing real stuff. And he's also another one, man. When you meet him and you find out this dude is exactly what he's supposed to be. And then some, the he's extraordinary. I mean, anybody just show up on the spot and teach a class and knows exactly what he's talking about. Like I said, he's the real deal. Y'all go check out the Survival Podcast out there because I do. And I listen to it. I mean, when I can, as of late, things have gotten a little bit different for me because I got a lot of goals I'm trying to get in, keep on track. All right, let's not mess around here, y'all. Learn. This is going to be your tip of the day. Okay, so it's almost a cliche, or at least it used to be. I don't know how many people know about it now. But I'm going to say this quote. You learn twice when you teach. Here's what I'm getting at. That pig class we just did this weekend, and I'll talk more about it in a minute. Look, y'all, and it's really awesome when you can do smaller classes. Jason and Lorraine, as always, and Randy and Anna, Lorraine's mom and dad, they were there wonderful people all the way around. Once again, people who are exactly
for sure
what they are. There's no fakes there, man. And every time I'm around Randy, man, I always learn something profound every single time. Just love it being around all of them, man. And your mom does too.
Mm-hmm.
She has a hard time, kind of feeling where her place is with a lot of other women out there. But, people that show up to gatherings like this or education things like this, or those are always women that she's going to always have something in common with. I mean, she's not going to be able to discuss, where you went to go get your hair and nails did and all that sort of thing. She's never going to have that conversation. But when she's in the company of other people like this, she feels less alone in the world. And frankly, so do I. Look, y'all, when you go to these classes, I'm going to encourage now more than ever. We're not in the fear game, y'all. We are in the empowerment how-to game. When you take a class, especially one like this where it's really in depth, every single person leaving there should know exactly how to do this. In fact, if you were to get our digital version of a butchery, which we have available.
Yeah, that's linked down in the description on both the YouTube channel and the show notes for the podcast.
Yeah, so when you check that out, you should be able to follow step by step and, know how to do this yourself, because we didn't leave anything out.
You can definitely follow along with that online class and process a pig step by step.
But what's even better is when Jason comes up with an idea where he says, okay, if you come to this class, not only are you going to see it three-dimensionally, we're going to allow you to put your hands on it. You're making a lot of these cuts. In addition to all of that, you also get the electronic version along with a PDF. There is no way on earth you cannot know how to do this.
Right, yeah.
No way. So here's what I'm encouraging everybody to do. And it's not cutting my throat. And frankly, I don't care if anybody cares. You learn twice when you teach. Go out there and do what Shelly did from twooldcrowshomestead.com.
Yep.
Also, Jason over at Kentucky Sustainable Living. They sat through one of my classes and then bam, right on the spot, they did their own class. And then they're doing beef classes. And then you have other folks that are out in Middle Tennessee doing the same thing. Oh man, I wish I could remember their names right now. They left that class and then they had 15 people come to their place. Yeah. But look, y'all, here is the key. Maybe the first time you teach a class, because you learn twice when you teach. I'm not kidding you. When you teach a class, maybe the first time, maybe the second time, just get anybody who will show up. And you're going to find out when you do it for free, most people aren't going to show up.
Yeah.
Because they think that what you're doing, you're basically calling them over to work. They're not going to do anything. I am dead serious. People think that it's worthless unless you charge money.
They'll come over to watch.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of people you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're exactly right on the money.
Watch.
Yep. They're coming over to watch. There's nothing wrong with that. But really, what we want to be putting out are butchers, are really meat handlers, arbitroirs. I don't care what you want to call them out there. The only way you're going to do that is if you teach. I've been encouraging, I won't say any names here, but there's a number of people out there that I've encouraged. As soon as you're done, man, even if you feel like a pig on roller skates, go out there, at least get some people you know. You don't have to charge them anything for it. Do it the first time. You're going to learn so much. Then do it the second time. You're going to learn even more.
By teaching, you could be getting, like, an example of that is get the online class and lead the class and going through the workshop, like the workbook.
Yeah,
the online workbook thing.
Exactly. Go through it with them if you have to.
Yeah. But I mean, that could be your version of a class, though, is what I'm saying.
And ultimately a career. It could be a side hustle. I mean, most butchers, y'all, these days, there is no former butcher school yet. There hasn't been for a long time. So it's people that gain knowledge like here and there. For example, I'm around Jason at Sow the Land. I learned this little trick that he taught me. I'm around Ben Holler, learn another trick he taught me. And then maybe these guys pick up something that they got from me. So we cross-pollinate with one another because all of us have trained with other people. And then we take all that and then we all put it together and we're like, okay, so we're all continuously learning every time we're around one another. I mean, Ben Holler should have been teaching 10 classes before the one he did.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's that capable. And he knows everything. He knows exactly what he's doing. Jason, I'm pretty sure, is going to get to the point where he's doing classes all by himself. But y'all, when you do any of these classes, especially when you spend the kind of money, believe me, when you spend that kind of money to come train with us, I am leaving no stone unturned. Ask anybody who's ever trained with me. I'm probably going to give you overload. if anything, I know that you're not going to say I didn't give you your money's worth, especially when I know what other people are out there charging. I know what they teach, and I know they're not giving you a fraction of what you get out of the course we just did. But it means more to me, honestly, that you go out there, just like we say, we sell comfrey to put ourselves out of business. I want it so ubiquitous that I can't sell it because it's that awesome a thing. Go out there, give it to your neighbors, propagate it. Never buy it again from us or anybody else. Go out there, give it away, do whatever you can, be Johnny Appleseed, put it everywhere. And I want the same thing to happen in terms of all these other skills. You know how to tan hides? Go out there, teach your classes. And plus, as a side hustle, let me just throw this in there, son. Not only could you have yourself a little side hustle where there's too many people, there ain't enough of me in the space, y'all. There's people giving offers for me to go, you wouldn't believe, like places like New York and offering unbelievable amounts of money to go up there. I can't do it. But I guarantee there's some of y'all out there, just go out there, take the course, spend the money, come back, do your own class, maybe do 2, and then start charging people because they will not show up because they think it's worthless if you do it for free. Son, how many classes were we doing for free?
Dad, did you drink coffee before this podcast?
No,
He's been going for 11 minutes, 45 seconds.
I know, but I can't.
Solid.
This is something, I mean, I guess maybe I'm, in light of all the things I'm discovering and discovered, there's going to be, I think, a general theme in all this. Yeah, the tip is definitely the longest tip I've ever done today. So we'll just jump right into farm news. All right, so that processing class, it was a joy. Met so many wonderful people from so many different places. One dude all the way from France, by way of Texas, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in San Antonio. He came all the way out and flew in. Yeah, pretty cool French dude. And I'm telling you what, man, he holds a knife like it's an extension of his arm, dude. I mean, not trying to feed into any stereotypes here, but my man, he kind of knew his way around a knife. And then,
that's good.
You know, the other people there were great, but I'm telling you what, the guy I think is, I really hope he moves close, man. His name is Ike. He's from Pennsylvania in the same part that I come from. And, man, I couldn't believe you could have knocked me over with a feather. Gave me 2 shoe fly pies and some scrapple. And don't worry, y'all, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a Pennsylvania Dutch thing. You got to be from that area to know. Look, I grew up on that stuff. And when you talk about comfort food, that's what it is for me.
Shoe fly pie is a pie crust filled with molasses, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but if you grew up on it, I grew up at a time where, son, we never got candy. We never got sugar. And if we ever had anything like that, I mean, it was maybe once or twice a year, and we never ate out. It was never anything like that. Where we grew, nobody ever ate out. I don't know how any restaurants ever existed because nobody I knew ever ate out. But, you know, sweets were not a thing you had. They weren't all that available. And so grandma would make molasses candy, and that stuff was awful, but it was the only candy you had. And then she would make shoe fly pie, or every blue moon we might get it from the Amish. And anyway, man, Ike, he's also one of those guys, man. He gave me such incredible confidence because he weaned himself off of a typical phone, and he's down to a flip phone. He runs businesses himself, and I'm like, okay, man. I mean, dude, I could have sat here talking to this dude all weekend, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a sad shame because we had to get back and, you know, do chores and whatnot. But, I mean, here he is, man. He's operating on a flip phone and he's getting along just fine, or not even at all. So, I mean, I've been threatening for the longest time. I basically turned off, I'm about to turn off the text messages completely, or look at them at a designated time, because I'm getting to the point where I'm weaning myself off this smartphone. And here it is, a guy, he's just like Joel Salatin, man. He's got a flip phone. Dude, that phone of his, man, was so doggone big, you can call in artillery with that thing, dude. It was reminding me of some of those old Army phones. So as far as other farm news, you know, had a little break in the weather. It's that, you know, it's that rainy time of season. So I was making some bone sauce. You were out getting comfrey, right?
No, not today. Was working on the garage and then backing up the computer and getting furniture out in town and stuff like that today.
Yeah, so also making compost.
Yeah, you got 3 of those piles going, don't you?
I got 3 different. I'm using Dr. Elaine Ingham's. I'm still trying to dial in when you do this sort of thing. Folks, there is a reason I'm kicking up everything in terms of preparedness, and compost is definitely at the heart of it. Because through this course that I'm taking through her, and Michelle, she's further along than I am, is that you're finding out that, well, it's not teaching me something I didn't already know in terms of how important soil is. But her methods, if they work, are revolutionary on a whole nother level. What we do currently works. But I'm finding out there may be a way to speed it up so exponentially it'll make your head spin. And so part of it, I think a lot of people that do this course end up buying their compost from somewhere else, and then maybe they supplement it or do something to it. I'm not playing that game. Like everything else, man, when I get obsessive about something, if I will go through and spend hours after hour after hour learning how to make risotto, well, properly.
Or iced tea.
Or whatever it is. I mean, if it takes root in my mind, y'all, I will turn the whole place upside down getting it figured out. It was just like bone sauce.
Yeah.
You know, it took thousands of dollars to get that one figured out, but it was either get it figured out or not have any fruit trees around here because the deer is just that devastating. So if it wasn't for, it cost me thousands of dollars to get this finally figured out. Your mom was like, dude, for real?
Yeah.
I mean, how much money? I'm like, there is no way I'm not going to figure this out. So that could be a good and a bad thing. Turned out to be a wonderful thing because now a lot of people out there, we don't really advertise for it all that much. And now the word's getting out there. So I'm glad it's something. I'm glad I was so persistent that it paid off. And then in this case here with the compost, I screwed up the first pile. Second pile.
Is it screwed up? Is it actually screwed up, or is it like, do you just have to like alter it a little bit?
Yeah, it's not screwed up. It's just I didn't follow instructions the first time out the way that I should. I thought I knew better. Got too hot, got a little bit anaerobic, but these are things I know how to correct now using her methods. So until I actually complete it, I'm not going to go and tell everybody, hey, go out there and give this a shot. But right now, this third pile looks like I'm really starting to dial in what I'm supposed to do. And I think a lot of people in these courses don't do that. Now, here's another thing, y'all. Here's going right back to what I was saying in the tip. Okay, so we've showed everybody how to do an 18-day pile.
Yeah.
Showed you how to do it with the chicken tractor on steroids. Now, remember what I said in the beginning? Look, if you take one of my butcher courses today, you're probably going to spend a lot of money, especially if it's an in-person course, because I know what people are offering out there, and I know that we are tripling in terms of value what they're doing it, and we're doing it for about the same price. Maybe a tiny bit more, but we're giving you way more for the process.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm all said and done with this thing, okay, is there any reason I can't do the same? I mean, why can't I sell compost? Why can't I sell compost tea? Why can't I do this? So not only, this course costs a lot of freaking money, but I think my money's better spent getting this education, which we're going to talk about in the main topic.
Yeah, we're getting
today.
in the main topic now, Dan.
Yeah, but I mean, it all kind of goes together. If there was ever a show, I think that's going to really tie every single bit of it together, I think this is going to be it. But yeah, so that's where we are in that. Clearing the mountain, 75 hard. I don't know how many days I am into it. I've never been one of those people where I count down days or count up.
I don't know how you guys aren't keeping track. I would just write it at the top of my list each day.
Nah.
Well, how else do you know?
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter that I know. I just know, hey, when I'm about a month in, I'll check.
But hold on. So the point behind doing it is so you don't have to count back on your days or anything like that. You just have the number.
Yeah, I've made it such a habit at this point that it's become a habit already. I don't know how far I am into it. I don't know. Maybe I'm closing in on a month. I don't know. It's just important to me to know that I'm on track. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Now, one area where I know that I need to get better is my intensity. My intensity on some days, because I'm dog tired. I'm up at the crack of dawn and I got a lot to do. I am very efficient, and I am realizing also importantly that I am backing way off of this phone because I cannot fail in this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow myself to fail. Even when I was out there doing the butchery with your mom, man, you're out there. Okay, so it's an hour and a half to get there. You're there literally all day long. You drive back another hour and a half, and you still got to complete that list, or you did it all for nothing. So, it's tough, but that's part of the whole thing is that through those hardships, you find out. I mean, these are lessons I don't necessarily. I've been through training like this before where there's no quit, but now I'm my own drill sergeant, and I'm really digging for it. I'm really digging for it. I'm really digging it. And in general, y'all, we're battening down the hatches in so many different ways. But before we get into Pastor Lon, y'all remember, we're saying all this stuff not to give you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Lon. Rather than sharing a verse of scripture with you today, I want to leave you with a piece of advice. I see a lot of people today trying to copy other people and be just like somebody else instead of doing their own thing. But I want to encourage you to be you, be yourself, because God created you and I in His own image. So therefore, we all are unique and we all have something different to offer and something different to bring to the table. So just be you. I found out in life that you'll be able to influence people in a positive way more often if you'll be yourself, be an original rather than a copy.
Boy, I'm starting to wonder if Pastor Lon really does have a bug in his house.
Yeah, he does.
Man, he's working he's got the NSA in his back pocket or something, because we just had we've had this conversation over several days, really.
Well, yeah, we have.
I mean, there's YouTube channels out there that instead of just trying to create and do their own thing, they're like copying the templates of what they think other people are doing, or doing knockoffs of what other people are doing, instead of just saying, hey, where are my passions? And I've been encouraging everybody to do this from day one. Find out where the holes are. Just go to your own property. Start here. If you're looking to make a home-based homestead business, find out where the problems are on your own homestead, solve those problems yourself, and then maybe find a way to market that to other homesteaders who almost certainly have the same problem. Classic example, bone saws.
Yep.
Classic example, comfrey. When we realized the full extent years ago of what we were doing with this comfrey, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. We are feeding it to everything, even our trees. Our plant and animal systems eat about equal amounts of comfrey if you stop to think about it.
Yeah, they really do.
They really do. I mean, all of our trees, all these things, I just can't get over it. But so many, like Pastor Lon said, man, everybody out there is just trying to model someone else. Yeah. Man, hey, Pastor Lon, get the NSA to back off, because there ain't no way. Every single time I'm sitting here wondering, man, how does he even know this? Or how does he know we were talking about this? Well, some people are saying that regarding our podcast too, by the way. Okay, so bad news, good news section. Bad news, and I think everybody in the alternative media is actually talking about it, and that is staging for the invasion. Migrants around the world are flying into America's southern border to illegally enter after Title 42. That stops on Thursday.
Yeah. So
you have people like, there was one reporter down there at the Darien Gap in Panama. I was down there years ago, and you would not believe the number of Chinese fighting age males.
Yeah, which seems odd. Like that was the easiest way to get in, was to go down to Panama and then come up.
Exactly.
You couldn't have landed in Mexico.
Or you couldn't have got on a cargo ship as a merchant marine or something. Yeah. I mean, swab the deck, for crying out loud. I still don't understand that. Why you're coming all the way in from Panama. But look, there is going to be a flood. And then when I'm hearing all these stories about these ladies that live in these historic ranches, that have been there for X amount of generations. And, some of these ladies, like one lady in particular, her husband came down with cancer, and she and the kids are basically looking after the place. And man, they are already having some issues. There's been a lot of people out there, Arizona. This is where, honestly, if you are a governor of a border state, you're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to, why are you waiting on the federal? I know the federal government's supposed to be handling that border. You send your National Guard down there right now, protect your people.
It's literally an invasion.
That's exactly
of
what
like
it is.
Almost The Walking Dead on foot.
Exactly. And what's even worse is that the awful, awful things. I'd always said from years ago, man, if we have a war on terror, which I know is a joke from the word go, then why were we never, what made me realize that was all a big joke is that I'm like, if we're in a war on terror, why are we not treating our borders like they're Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
Guantanamo Bay, man, nothing gets by. It's the world's biggest minefield, okay? Nothing gets across that border. Nothing even tries. And you're telling me if we're in this big war on terror, why aren't we treating our borders that way? Why don't we have landmines everywhere down there? and, obstacles and observation, the 3 things you need to make something where people can't pass. So, I mean, it seems to me that this is too stupid to be stupid.
Yeah, it's got to be intentional.
It is absolutely intentional.
Yeah.
It's, look, y'all, brace for impact. I mean, this is a lot of what we're going to be covering today. I know we try to keep things on the lighter side, and yes, we are the Permaculture PIMPcast, but good night.
On a lighter note, what if this isn't all just like driven by evil? What if this is just what happens when you get a group of people to make a decision? What if this is just the consensus model?
Well,
This
that's
is what
even scarier, man.
happens.
That's even scarier, dude. It ain't like when I was a kid when you'd have 12 guys on the inner tube coming across the Rio Grande. I mean, you got coyotes over here, man, like murdering people on the way. I mean, this is serious stuff. I mean, it's dreadful on so many different ways, but you can't get 9 out of 10 John Q. American people to even care. All right, good news. So this may not seem like good news, but businesses that endorse BLM are now closing their stores in San Francisco as rampant violence and crime overwhelms. I mean,
Go woke and go broke.
they're right there. There you have it.
Yep.
There you have it. I mean, this wokeism, man, is it really worth it? I'm like, how many different ways do you have to find out? This is what we were talking about last podcast, where I'm like, why do you even care what these think? All these people that are raising all this cane about, oh, I don't like Billy because he said this, this, and this. Why do I even care? The woke people, like I said before, if you go to any festival, and we've been to a number of them, where they're run by woke people, you make no money at all because these people are broke. First of all, they're too busy thinking deep thoughts about how they're going to go storm the Capitol, but these are not people that buy your products anyway. So I never understood why people are kowtowed to him.
Check out the last podcast. That's exactly what we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. So, that now this is happening, but here's the worst part of it. Is that all of the people moving into the area where we live and in places in conservative Texas and a number of other places, they're all coming from these other areas. So that's something to look out for. And then they bring their idiotic nonsense with them a lot of times. A lot of them don't too, but you gotta weed them out. Last one, good news. I am a white person. Berkeley professor confesses her whiteness after building a career on Native American roots. So how many people out there?
Were you born here? I think you're native. I think that counts.
Yeah. So, but this is another wokeism where she's out there claiming that she's this and that, half Chickasaw and Choctaw, or daddy was a Chippewa, the whole 9 yards. I mean, here it is. She plays that whole thing like that one lady. Oh my goodness, that senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. Yep.
Turns out that woman is the biggest honky there ever existed, man. I mean, when she says she's part Native, I mean, dude, you could not get more white than what she was, dude. I mean, there was not a single recessive anything that was Native out there. Yeah. If anything, she came from the Slapaho tribe. And then I know there's a bunch of people out there that like to do that very thing. Or, this one here, maybe they came from the Monig tribe, but, we'll talk about that one. Yeah.
The Palpatine, do it.
I'm not going to do it this time. Yeah, I'm not going to do it this time. All right, y'all. When we come back, we are going to get right into it. All righty. Want to thank Van Tesla for the music as always.
Yep. Joel Thomas at Van Tesla.
Yeah, Joel Thomas. They also have a podcast called Kill the Mockingbirds.
Yep.
And man, they were talking about some really interesting stuff regarding the internet as of late.
Well, yeah, and then also the Nephilim origins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting points of view you don't hear very often.
Yeah, you may not agree with them, but that's the mark of any true thinker, is the ability to listen to any argument without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with you. All right, before we move on to the main topic, y'all, want to remind you, one of the big sponsors of this show, EMP Shield. You get $50 off with promo code PERMA. Not going to kid y'all. Might want to think about getting one, especially in these days. Good night,
If
man.
nothing else, lightning. Like it's tornado season right now. You're probably going to get storms and stuff like that. So it's really good for lightning.
Well, I'm from, I was raised in Oklahoma, man. I mean, good night, man. I was there on that May 3rd tornado back in the day. We drove into it.
I was there too, Dad.
Yeah, you were there. You were there. We drove into that thing, but that's another story altogether. Look, y'all, your number one threat out there is always going to be a lightning strike. And guess what? If it happens, they cover you, I believe, up to 20, 25,000. There ain't another. This is why I sought them out. They didn't seek me out, because when you got a guarantee like that, y'all, and they stand behind it, you ain't even got to go to your own insurance if you got hit up. So there's something to consider there. Also, that EMP Micro, I think that's really an awesome product. And then the regular EMP Shield you put on your car. Look, I'm not trying to hit the club, If something jumps off, all I need to do is get to the house. That's where I'm trying to get to. So that's why I sought EMP Shield out, y'all. $50 off with promo code PERMA. All right, so into the main topic. Folks, I want to ask you where your best investment is right now. Okay, let's just take a quick stock of what's going on right now. If you'll notice, maybe you might see a little pattern in terms of our sponsors for this show. There's no shortage of people reaching out for us, It's not as if advertisers don't want to work with us because they see our numbers and they know we're growing. And which, by the way, thank everybody out there for all your support and your, your, what do you call those things? Those recommendations you put out there on iTunes. Reviews.
And ratings.
Yeah, your ratings. We ask you to continue to do that.
It helps out. It really does.
It helps us out, y'all. Yeah. And people see that we're growing. So if it's not something I legitimately use or I haven't tested, I'm not going to talk about it. But if you'll notice, whether it's EMP Shield, whether it's Harvest Right freeze dryers, whether it's Heaven's Harvest, whether it's Hickory Ridge soap to some extent, all of these things have a preparedness quotient into them. And now I can't think of a more consequential time than what's going on right now. Like I was talking about the EMP Shield, son.
Yeah.
Everybody already forgot about the drone attack that was done on Vladimir Putin. So Vladdy the Pimp Daddy sitting over there near the Kremlin, and guess what? A drone comes flying his way. I guess he just had that a-coming, huh?
Yeah. He might decide to turn off a city.
Yeah, he might decide to vaporize a city or use one of those high-speed nuclear warheads that's sitting off the coast right now where they can make a tsunami.
Yeah.
They have a tsunami weapon. It could make the whole East Coast radioactive. But here we are out there, and, I'm thinking, okay, boy, I can't think of a better time to have a sponsor such as EMP Shield, because honestly, I never thought of it more consequential. Like I said, lightning is your biggest threat, but I don't know about that anymore.
They came around just in time.
Good night, man. I mean, okay, so they're going to say Ukraine did it, but at this point, Russia's foreign ministers are saying they're making legit overtures like, hey, the ram has touched the wall.
Yeah.
Which means there ain't no going back at this point. Could it be hyperbole? Possibly. But I'm not playing like it is, because the only one playing out there is the United States. The only ones playing out there are Europe. The only ones playing out there are these Marchies walking up and down these streets that are acting like they don't have any idea what's going on in this world, because in truth they don't.
Yep.
So
hanging Ukrainian flags from their cars and whatnot.
Yeah. And have no idea what's going on over there. But back to that main thing. I'm going to ask you folks, where do you think your best investment lies? I mean, some people are going to say, okay, I got cash, I put it in the bank. Some folks are going to say, I got mine in Bitcoin. There's going to be the gold bugs out there that say, yeah, I got it all in gold. Some are going to say silver.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking about other places where I'm taking either disposable money or saved money, because let's be honest here. We got right as Michael Snyder from collapseblog.com has pointed out that we've already had more assets lost in just the bank collapses so far this year than we did in the collapse of 08. And if I didn't tell you before, y'all, 08, the only jobs I could find on the planet were in third world countries.
Wow.
In 08. You were still little at the time.
Yeah, I was still young.
It was hard. It was hard, y'all. And I engaged in things that I didn't expect that I would, but I'll do anything. I was not anywhere near as, we were still into preparedness. I mean, we were very much prepared in terms of food and stuff like that. But I wasn't prepared to lose my job for a year and a half and be in a position where, I'm starting to ask critical questions. Well, we appear to come out of that, and everybody I knew that was in hard times just like I was, they went right back into the matrix.
Yeah.
We doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on our preparedness from that day because I had made a vow that if I ever get back on my feet again, I will never, ever, ever find myself in this position again. So from that point, I had made myself a promise before then, but that time I kept it. And so it's been full tilt preparedness from that time until this day. And so when I'm asking you folks where you're putting your money, I'm not asking for, clearly, I don't necessarily need a response. It's a rhetorical question. But I'm going to ask you, can you eat Bitcoin? Can you eat gold backs? Can you eat gold? Can you eat silver? Because let's go right back to the Bible. If you can purchase a birthright for a bowl of soup, then do you think you could shake down some Marchie for all the gold in his pocket if he hadn't eaten in 3 days?
Yeah, and that's one super handy thing about that Heaven's Harvest stuff is that that's easy to like barter with.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
In the bucket version or in the Mylar pouches and stuff like that. Like that's not something where you have to take it and then create a meal with it. You just add water and heat it up.
Well, it's also good if you had to bug out or, some of these things, there's ways to bury things in certain places where you have caches all over the place. That might be something you think about.
Yeah.
But as far as your investment, if you're leaving it in the dollar, you got to ask yourself, is that the smartest thing I ought to be doing? I mean, do you want it in silver? Maybe a portion of it, but there's people I know that got gold and silver and ain't got no food or water.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you?
And then water also, or ways to procure water would be a good idea if you don't live in a place like we do.
I heard, oh my goodness, Max Kaiser. I heard him say, and I think he said it best. I mean, he said it a while back. He's like, with the way the dollar is collapsing in its value, you are better off putting new tires on your car.
Yeah.
That's a better investment, putting new tires on your vehicle than holding on to dollars. I ain't saying just go out and just blow it, and certainly not like, just don't go blow it on bubble gum. But you might want to be asking serious questions about how your money is invested. And okay, before you get gold and silver, you might want to think about putting back food. Okay? How about, we've talked about this in varying Look, let me just go ahead and break it down, y'all. I'm not even going to kid you. We try to keep this thing on the up and up, but it's getting harder and harder with every single episode because all the things that are unfolding, and now you add this Title 42 to all this nonsense, and you got to start asking at this point, what are the chances of you having a country after a while? Because I don't know where the bottom is. Every time I feel like we've hit the lowest level of depravity, we hit another rung. And I remember a while back, Pastor Lon texting me, and we talk about this stuff. We used to talk about it quite often when I used to text a lot. And every once in a while, him being a pastor, man, remember, a pastor is a thankless job, man. Everybody's coming to you with their problems, and nobody typically thinks about you for the most part until some calamity befalls. And it is one of the most thankless jobs on the planet is being a pastor. But even once in a while, a pastor's they're gonna feel it. And they're gonna ask, man, good night, what is going on here? And there's been a time or two where Pastor Lon has felt that way. I know that. And he shores me up, and I try to do the same for him when I can. And it's all the more reasons why, y'all, that's another way of preparedness. Honestly, go check out his YouTube channel. You'll be glad you did, because he has these little snippets that just fill you with what you need for the day. But going right back to this, are you concerned at all about the nature of the things that are going on right now? Because you can't tell me this is not by design. It is a slow burn, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to accelerate, to the point where forecasters like Martin Armstrong, guys who have an extraordinary track record, are saying, look, real estate market, boom, it's about to collapse. And these guys who are not engaged in hyperbole are saying this whole thing is coming apart. So look, I don't know about you, but a lot of people, when you tell them this, they just kind of do I'm going to pretend like I didn't hear that.
You for sure. And then okay, so a lot of the people, or there's a lot of people that listen that are squared away on their preps and that are growing food and they're established and all this stuff, what do you recommend that they should do? Like, do you think they should start putting stuff back to rebuild community, or should they be like purchasing land? What do you think they should be doing? Or is it the mindset like you never have enough preps?
You said it right there, son. Every person that I know, if you can go to a guy who's been in a longer at it than I have, like Bobby Spags, he's gonna you go to Bobby right now, and no matter who you are in the preparedness continuum, you never feel like you're prepared, ever. You never feel like you've ever arrived. And that's probably a good place to be, because the second you do, you're probably slipping in a great many things. In fact, the only people that think that are those people. But yeah, as far as what I would be doing and what I am doing, looking for more land, okay? But you're going to have to get clever in how you purchase it. And it was part of what I talked to Greg Judy about the other day. Folks, use some of this stuff because we've done it. Look on Craigslist. Let's say you're looking to get some place out there. I guarantee you, I'll go into more detail, but we've done a program on this.
Oh, yeah.
As far as buying land on the cheap, but just in a nutshell, you're going to have to think outside the box in terms of your purchases. A lot of these people that maybe have raw land or whatever, they know that you don't have 50% down in most cases. So they may be willing to do some owner financing. And there's ways to do this and make it work. I've done it numerous times. And there's still opportunities out there. Another thing, there are people that think, oh, I got a garden. Okay, yeah, you got a garden, but how much do you actually have? Can that garden sustain you for that whole year? If it can't, then you need to get your butt on the first thing smoking down and go buy. You can still get rice for really cheap.
Yeah.
You can get a 50-pound bag of white rice, store it the way we showed you. We got videos on it, and that'll last forever and a day.
Even if it ain't cheap, it's the cheapest it's going to be.
Yes, that's a very good point. You can get rice, son. We were buying beans at that place in South Carolina, 100-pound bags.
Hayes Food Products.
Yeah.
Down in Greenville, South Carolina.
They keep some weird hours and everything, but hey, you can get 100-pound bags of beans down there for, what was it, 30 cents a pound when we got it last time?
Oh, no, not even that much.
Yeah, it was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So, there's other ways. Get your stuff put back. So you have a garden. Okay, with all these weather, quote, anomalies going on right now, which I don't think are anomalous at all. Well, yeah, they are anomalies. They're just, maybe they're a little bit more contrived than anybody's willing to admit. Okay, so what if you think you got your stuff all together? Right now, perfect example. We have fruit sets on how many different peaches out there?
Oh, yeah.
And then bam, cold weather comes in, knocks out most of them.
Yeah, most of them are gone. Most of the fruit that we were going to have this year was wiped out by a late frost.
Right. So, yeah, even if you have perennial systems put in place, you still have got to put back enough dry goods, beans, rice, fat, plenty of shelf-stable fat. You can get coconut oil still for pretty cheap for the most part.
Yeah.
Pig fat, if you're able to do it. Things that are shelf-stable. Remember, fat is... So think about where you're putting your money. You go ahead and buy all the gold and silver you want. That's all fine and dandy if you're so inclined. Go get the Bitcoin. Maybe you want a little bit of all that. But if you're investing in that and you ain't got food and water put back, nephew, you got issues. You already got issues because it's starting to get real. Now, if you are properly prepared, you can almost certainly be in the position right now to where when things jump off, you can still prosper, just like Bobby talks about all the time.
Yep.
Even in the Great Depression, there were those out there that saw this coming, like the sons of Issachar. They made preparations and they did things. But you got all these people out there telling you, and maybe they're invested in to some extent of you buying gold and silver. In no way, you take, for example, Man in America podcast. Seth tells you, he says, hey, get gold and silver, but make sure you got food and water first.
Yeah.
But you got other folks out there not telling you that. They're saying, oh, go buy this gold, go buy this silver. Look, we have supply chains that are not functioning right now. We are about to have an all-out invasion from the South. We have a dollar that is collapsing. We have a government trying to start World War III.
And
literally trying.
This isn't to start any fear or anything like that. It's the point is don't pretend it's not happening. Go ahead and start do something about it.
Do you think when all this stuff is unfolding right now, it's like this normalcy bias where there's people you and I know still going on constant vacation,
Yeah.
constant partying. And then when this thing jumps off, they're going to come to me with their hats in their hands saying, oh man, can you help us? And the answer is hell to the no, no. That's exactly how it's going to be. I'm to the point now where I am. Was that funny?
What are you doing?
No. Yeah, no, man. And that's what it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
It's what it's going to have
it's
to
not
be.
like they weren't warned beforehand.
I have warned
Multiple times.
and I've said it how many different times. Noah probably had cousins on the outside of that ark.
Yeah.
Surely Noah's daughters-in-laws, they all had family on the outside of that ark. And they probably had friends. They had kin. They had all these other people that were on the outside of that ark. You've been warned and warned and warned. Now things are jumping off. And think about it. These people who did absolutely nothing when this thing goes sideways, are they really the people? First of all, they didn't do anything to prepare. So do you think they're going to have any respect for your preparedness if you were to take them in?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have any respect for, they cared so little for themselves and their families.
They're the ones to complain the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got money to go on vacation. You got money for cigarettes. You got money for booze. You got money for parties. You got money for new car payments. You got money for all this stuff. And like Greg Judy said the other day, with every dime he had, and Ike pointed this out to me again at the butchery we were just doing. Ike pointed this out. Where every spare dime he had, Greg went out and bought a cow.
Yeah.
So he bought employees. That's the way he looked at it.
Yeah.
He bought employees in the form of cows. So with every spare dime I got, my best vehicle's 22 years old. Could I afford to go out there and get another one? Probably, but I ain't. Not until the wheels fall off of this one, and the next one I'll pay cash for. I mean, I remember for that truck, that 99 Ford I got out there right now, I spent $5,000 for it, cash money, years ago.
Yeah.
And okay, so the guys I was working with when I was still on my tools, they made fun of me and said, oh, why are you driving that old truck? You make a lot of money doing this, this, and this. And meanwhile, here they are, slaves to the grind.
Working overtime constantly.
Have to work overtime all the time. Meanwhile, I'm able to put every disposable hour I have into my family and myself. Getting down to brass tacks when we lay it all out. Y'all, I don't know. I cannot beat this dead horse any more than I have, son. Is there anything you want to add? Because in terms of putting back of where you ought to be investing your money, what are you thinking?
I mean, leaving it as cash is definitely the worst option because that's just losing value every day. I would definitely put it into something like like if your preps are all squared away, hypothetically, like you have enough food for like 30 years and it's just you. And your water squared away and all this other stuff, maybe start like preparing for the rebuild aspect. Maybe start putting stuff away for that, or just like insane amounts of medical supplies. That could be something that would be a good idea. Or tools. That's not a bad idea. Just like stuff that you can maybe barter with or just use to rebuild.
You want a good business idea? Think about things that you can do because we're getting to that point right now. Come up with products that is going to enhance their life. For example, we are the world's, there ain't nobody else on the planet that makes bone sauce. Well, I guess there's other people out there, but
yeah, some people have started up.
Yeah, I don't know what they're making out there, but I guarantee for the price you're charging, it ain't what you say it is, nephew, because I make this stuff and I guarantee it's not the potency that we're putting out. But the point being, I had a problem with deer. Well, I started thinking, okay, other people probably have a problem with deer too. If it worked this well for me, and I've spent hours and hours and hours and money to make this stuff so strong, maybe other people could use it too. Maybe it'll help them.
Yeah.
So ask yourself right now, as we're getting into these parallel economies, which is what we're going to have to do. Somebody sent me a really awesome email recently, and I'm going to reach out to them. Apparently they started this thing where, they got a lot of patriot companies and they're pointing people to that direction. Solve your own problem and then monetize it and then charge a reasonable wage for it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't undercut everybody else out there. You're only cutting off your own nose, and don't charge too much. Charge what's fair. But in this area, Find out how you can be a blessing to other people. Forget about the money. Don't even worry about that part of it. It'll come. Just solve other people's problems. We'll start with your own, and then also assume that other people out there have that same exact problem. Like that guy we met a while back. He loves to weld. And I'm like, okay, right now you can't find tools worth a hoot.
Yeah.
Go weld a doggone, make a better shovel, make a better hoe, make a better hand tool, make a better plow, make a better everything. And I guarantee you're going to have people that want to buy it.
Yeah, especially if you don't have to ship it from China right now.
Right. So maybe your money is better spent. Let me just end with this. Is your money better spent in R&D on a new product that can make you money and also be a blessing to the people out there? Is your money, like, for example, like ours, we spend a lot of money on education because it furthers, this is my career, this is what I do, this is my passion. So if it's that, then shouldn't I be investing in it? So yes, I will spend thousands of dollars to learn how to make compost better so I can pass it on to everybody else out there, not even as a means to make profit.
Yeah.
It's just as a means to help out other people and get you off and running so then you can help out another person. And, this thing becomes so parabolic that they can't mess with us. Okay? I'm going to Greg Judy's here before long. That costs money.
Yeah.
That's an investment. So I'd rather drive old vehicles that, break down every once in a while that need some work and have money to be able to further my education because that is a better investment. Putting more up here in my cabeza is a whole lot more valuable than hanging on the dollars that are going to be worthless anyway. Well, you can't. Yeah. What did that one book say? Money can be lost or stolen. Beauty fades, but what you stick in your mind is yours forever.
Up about Elon, buying Twitter like he gon' save us. Left and right, squabbling while he got chips for your heads, calling him courageous. No bueno, I answer to no one, start calling me NATO. Digital cheese on the way though. Get you a bowl of Alfredo. It's a woke summer, I need another booster. Before I hit the beach, BLM on my cruiser.
All right, welcome back everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around. And once again, a big hat tip to Van Tesla. Coming right out of the gates in the Q&A. Got one from Patricia. And she was wanting to buy a rice knife. It says your website's sold out. And then also the contact us link of your website is given an error code. Yeah, we're having a lot of work done on the website. And as far as the rice knives, once again, those supply chains are really screwed up right now, y'all. We are working as best we can to get certain things. That's why I've sourcing certain things for some of the products we make around here are difficult sometimes. And that's one of the ones in order to get back in the rice knife. It's something we do, but right now it's what it is. I mean, hopefully we'll have some before too long.
Got one from Strider47 on the Fountain app. In concert with Pastor Lon's segment today and the main topic, here's what Jesus Christ tells us in Matthew. And do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Matthew 10:28 ESV. Great episode, fellas. Keep up the great work. Hashtag tip a pimp. Hashtag catch Jack. Hashtag not a lisp.
Man, I always love hearing from Strider. Yeah, bro, I'm right there. It's easy sometimes in our humanity. I stated before that, if I don't pray every single day or get into the word every single day, it's not going to be a good day. And even when I do, there can be some challenges. But I know that it's not going to go well when I don't. But hey, as far as fearing these other people, y'all, that's where humanity, that's where you got to stay grounded. Fasting. Boy, that's another thing that we ought to consider doing right now. That's actually another skill, not only for spiritual reasons, but honestly, there was a documentary I saw a while back called Fasting.
Yeah. And
the guy in there said the one thing Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad all agreed on was the benefits of fasting. And I was like, huh. So let me take another look at this thing. Well, that's also a tactical skill.
Yeah.
Is knowing how to tactically fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have to do that. You may actually have to, you may have to work out your portions to where everybody ain't, going around all chubby, It might be a little bit different. I got one from Lynette over here. In a nutshell, she says, "Hi, Billy. Love the show. Learned so much But I want to challenge you and put your money where your mouth is by taking money from the powers that shouldn't be. I'm working on a patriot movement that is taking literal dollars out of the pockets of the deep state. And it's Patriot-owned, has about 500 non-toxic American products. Anyway, hopefully we'll be linking up. And right here at the bottom says, always be composting. Love you and your family. Keep up the good work. Just ordered a freeze dryer through your website, too. Thank you so much, Lynette.
That's awesome. Cool. I got one from Jen in Indy. Okay, so she's explaining an acronym that I didn't know what it like meant before. It was FAFO, and apparently it means F around and find out. Hashtag tip a pimp. So now we know.
Well, now I know.
I think it was in relation to the Execute Pedophile shirt.
Oh.
And I did find a shirt. It says it was by Struggle Jennings. Do you know who that is? I guess he's some country music artist or whatever. But it says kill all pedophiles, but it's sold out right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to see him brought to justice. No doubt about that. I pray for it every single day. All right, one here from Brandon. Made a very nice offer. Says, you notice Kendra visits Syracuse on occasion. And basically said, look, they got a small farmstead not far from there, and they'd be happy to pick her up if she should ever need it. Huh. Well, she goes back there and things jump off. Glad you put your contact information in here, bro. Thanks a lot. We'll make sure we pass that on, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Very, very sweet offer.
I got one from Humble Servant. Speaking of those mysterious Middle Eastern fellows, raise pigs. It's an effective repellent.
Ooh.
Hashtag tip a pan.
Bam. Hey, you know what? Somebody sent some pictures,
Intruders get buried with pigs.
Oh.
Do that. That'll get some people to turn right around.
Yeah, go out there, shake his hand with some pig stuff. Oh, man, sorry about that. I was just working with the pigs, homie. Got one from Matthew. Just finished listening to y'all's podcast. Why do you even care? It's basically our last podcast. You must have a bug in the house because we seem to have friends for years who just turned out to be lazy, bums. Yeah, no doubt about that, y'all. We just kind of hit it a moment ago. You're going to have those people that, good night, man. And a lot of them are family members too, y'all. And guess what? There's going to be a whole lot of people that just ain't going to work. I mean, you had every opportunity. We warned you ad nauseum. And you've done nothing about it. So, yeah. Things are going to get stupid, and you got to get ready.
Got another one from Strider 47. Y'all, these pimps done painted a tapestry. Painted one. Last show, they talked about being on guard for creeps. Then they interviewed Greg Judy. Today's tip was to have the same expectations for people as animals. Here's the big picture. Chicken hops the fence, bam. Sheep hops the fence, bam. Pedophile crosses the fence. Well, you know what time it is, nephew. Hashtag tip a pimp, catch Jack, pluck around and find out, execute pedophiles.
Man, too bad we ain't giving out more knives, man. Yeah. That was one right there.
Yeah.
Boy, you talk about a winner. Okay, so Robin says, please share with folks on your vlogs that comfrey grows great. Speaking of excellent propagation, some of your roots, okay, basically 3 to 5 inches already. Yeah, hey, yeah, folks, you got to water some of this stuff too. I mean, that's one of the problems we're running in. People either put it in potting soil, which you don't want to do, or they put it out there and don't water it. But you gotta get this stuff off and running. But once it comes up, it's hard to stop. And to propagate it one plant when it's mature, I mean, you can get 100 of them out of there easy. Yeah. So thank you so much, Robin.
Got one from Dubrovko, I believe, from the Fountain app. I value enough to send you 1,000 sats. Thank you.
Bam.
Stay strapped, be polite, and be willing to walk away.
Man, these people on Fountain, boy, they drop some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Don says, quick question. Is it wise to put fermented products into your compost piles, especially if it has vinegar content? Also ordered one Straw Revolution book on your advice. Cannot wait to get into that book. Always love hearing from Don. Yeah, so there's absolutely no problem. I guess it would depend on the quantities, but I can only think that it's going to help.
Would it count as your high nitrogen?
It depends on what it is. I mean, if it's fermented, I'm going to count it as regular nitrogen.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you don't have enough to make up an entire compost pile with it. So yeah, more than certain. I mean, I would have absolutely no qualms whatsoever. I mean, it's all about microbes in these piles. It really is. It's 100% microbial action. I mean, you think about it. I mean, you want a great idea out there? Look, I'm going to give away another $1 million idea, son, right now, right here. and Don kind of inspired it. Find a water heater that runs on compost. I got piles out there. I got 2 piles standing next to one another. Each of them, one of them is 140 degrees. The other's 150 degrees. You had 3 bins going in and out. What I'm saying is you could find out a way. These are problems people are going to have, especially people off grid. Or come up with a contraption where you could put, let's say, 3 to 5 compost bins over there, have a manifold. You know what, Darren, I bet I bet Darren would come up with something. But look, the race is on. Here's another $1 million idea. Go out there, find a way to heat water, heat yourself. There's a number of, you could do radiant flooring for crying out loud with something like that. You know what?
With compost?
Yeah.
Have those glycerin tubes run through the compost?
Why couldn't you do that? Let's say you had like 5 different compost piles out there. Don, I can't believe you just inspired this. And these are the kind of ideas we have all the time out there. So I'm just going to give away this million, and it is $1 million idea. We've given away a lot, and most people don't do anything with them. Find a way to retrofit a house to heat all the water, maybe even radiant heating, because you could do it.
I don't know if you could do that as a retrofit. Radiant floor heating.
Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe you have a subfloor in there. Maybe there's some way around it. I bet there is.
Or a radiator or something like that.
Some way around it. Radiator. Any number of ways. Find a way to do that with compost. You could have 5 compost bins out there in tandem, and then you have a series of pipes going through them, and then through the manifold, you could switch whatever one's hot. Yeah. I mean, 140 degrees ain't nothing. I mean, for crying out loud, it won't stay that way forever in a day, but if you had a series of 5 bins, why couldn't you do that? I didn't mean to go all sideways here, but this is exactly what I'm talking about, man. There's tons of ways to solve people's problems out there, save them a pile of money. Think about what you're not spending, especially right now when you get that idiot Hochul up there in New York. No more. Everybody's got to be on electric heat. Well, look, is there any rules on compost heat? First of all, I wouldn't be playing along anyway. I'd be.
Yeah. What kind of law is that? Like, you can't heat your house with wood anymore.
Yeah, that is an unjust law, but sadly, a lot of people out there, okay, what about compost?
And you live in a forest.
Yeah, what about compost? But what I'm saying is there are thousands of ways outside their way of doing things. How much money could you save and get yourself in shape if you were to make your workout flipping compost piles and heating your home with it, even in a dead, cold New York winter?
Yeah, you could. You could make money off of it just selling the compost.
Yeah, absolutely no problem with it, Don.
Got a comment on the YouTube channel, Permaculture's Farm, Permaculture PIMPcast. Got one from Isle of View Homestead. I have a shirt and giant sticker on the back of my pickup that reads, "Kill your local pedophile." I wear them with pride.
Man, I got to get some of that. I got to get some of those, man.
On the back of his pickup.
I mean, what are you going to do on my, I mean, what?
You can't be surprised.
Well, I mean, honestly.
He ain't driving a Civic.
Yeah. Yeah, you can believe he ain't got no hybrid. Yeah, but I mean, like on my truck, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean,
like, you can't get mad at that.
I mean, first of all, well, if you do, and half these little Marchies want to step to you, like you said, your mom could beat up about 90% of the women and 95% of the men in Asheville.
Okay, just a recap for those of you that didn't hear, my hardest competition at a jiu-jitsu tournament in Nashville was a girl. That was my hardest opponent.
Wow.
Yeah. In the men's division. So, if that tells you anything.
Why was she in the men? Was it?
She was, I don't know. She was claiming to be a dude.
Oh, okay. So did you elevate that?
I still won. Yeah, I still won.
Oh man, thank you, sir.
Hey,
thank you, man. I'm like, dude. Hey, y'all, we're going solo on this podcast.
Hey,
my son got beat up by Marchie.
If you sign up for the men's division, you're getting treated like a man.
That's right. You make
like that guy on that bus driver. She wanted to act like a man. I'm gonna treat her like a man.
Oh yeah, and then they fired that bus driver, man. She started going upside his head, man. He did a he-ho man slap on her.
She wasn't on the bus anymore.
That's a fact. Neither was he. We got one from Elijah. He says, I agree with your message about not self-censoring. However, how do you go on about relaying information about making your listener feel like they're drinking from a fire hose? In short, basically, they had some folks out there, and they were young, wearing a mask, and basically self-centered. I mean, that's always a personal call. I mean, there comes a time like right now, if I'm in this forum right now, I'm going to say 99% of what I think. There's one topic where I haven't given everybody what I think yet. There may come a day when I do, but by and large, within this realm, you know, people have the ability to just tune out if they don't like it. But if it's a bridge too far, and in their case, they were telling them, look, hey, you ain't got to wear the mask in the house or whatever.
Well,
I guess you're just going to have to pick your battles on this. But really, when in a lot of these forums as of late, or when I do live events, there are people that tell me, hey, you know, you might want to tone it down a little bit. And I understand it's their event. But, you know.
Well, no. I mean, you asked us to be here.
Well, no. I mean, but they didn't ask me to get political.
Oh.
But every time without question, I don't care where their stance may be. If you tell me, because every talk I do, I make it very well known that I am a soldier of Christ. And if I can't say that, then I won't be. No.
Well.
I'm going to say it anyway. Then you just won't invite me back. That's just how it's going to be. But look, if a guy can get up there and say he's a trans-testicle Marchie, I can get up there. I can get up there and say what I'm saying. Well, whatever. I think Marchie was a trans-testicle.
This dude is going to hear this name being used as like a derogatory term. He's like, well, where did this come from?
Well, when the dude told me his name and he said Marchie, I was sitting here thinking, I said, no, son, what's your real name? Marchie. Marchie. That's how he said it. Marchie. Okay, Marchie. Pick up that bucket. Let's go handle these pigs. We're walking up here. My man got Velcro shoes and a fanny pack. I knew right then and there it wasn't going to work out. He's walking up here. He says, man, this is hard. And then he gets over there. It's hard. So Marchie has become synonymous with somebody who said basically a little fruitcake that says everything's hard. I probably used it a little too far and wide, but I doubt he's listening to the PIMPcast.
You get the point.
Yeah, but as far as finding that line, I guess it really depends on what the situation is a lot of times. There's sometimes, honestly, like in this farm group I was a part of for a little while, I went straight scorched earth, man. I didn't even care. Toward the end of it, I realized I'm like, okay, not only are these farmers, are they always broke? What I'm saying is they can't function without subsidies or grants. Every single one of them to a person. So I'm like, okay, every time they brought up a problem that they had, I was coming up with solutions. Like, oh, I can't afford chicken feed. I'm like, well, I got a system where you can do it without feed. Oh, the pigs cost too much to feed. Well, guess what? I got a system where I can feed them for nothing. They didn't want to hear it. And then finally, when I realized these people are not about solutions, that it became a collaboration of commiseration.
Mm-hmm.
I just made that up. Collaboration of commiseration. That's exactly what it was. It was not when I realized it wasn't going anywhere, I'm like, okay, man, it's time to go scorched earth on these clowns, because I knew it wasn't going anywhere. So, man, that's really, you're going to have to make
practice.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just going to have to elevate that pimp hand and unleash. And for those that don't know, remember, PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. It's also a right hand that I lift up, open my fingers to reduce drag and unleash on Marchies out there. So anyway, we got a lot of good stuff out there. It's a lot of good comments. And folks, I don't know what's going on sometimes. For some reason, a lot of these, there's people telling me they're emailing me, but I'm not getting them. And there may not be every week. I get so many emails that I don't necessarily, I read them all and I may not respond to all of them. I usually try as best I can. If I don't respond in person, I usually do in the podcast.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to do and a lot to get to, y'all. Hopefully, I want to make sure that before we close out here, son, I want to make sure everybody knows what I'm getting at is I'm not beating you over the head to buy things with your resources. What I'm trying to get out mostly in this podcast is ask yourself, is it a better investment of your capital to leave it in worthless paper? Or should you be doing something worthwhile? Should you do education? Should you buy things you know you need?
Really anything else. Really anything
Yeah,
else.
that's a good point. It's a good point. Go buy animals, for crying out loud. All right, y'all. Hopefully it was a blessing to you. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.